If you are not utilizing your calendar and you are not making lists, you probably are underutilizing yourself. Hi, my name's Devon. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way, I only know the hard way. Hey everyone, I'm Devon. This is the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast, where I give straightforward advice to fuel the entrepreneur in all of us. Today I want to talk to you about calendaring and list making. So my mother instilled this to me when I was young. She used to buy me these little calendars, these little day planners that you would write on, and she would inspect my little calendar. She'd be like, because I'd ask her, I'd say, hey, when's, soccer practice? She'd be like, pull out your calendar and look. And I'm like, oh. So I'd pull it out and it'd be blank. And then she'd yell at me, right? And make me make these, put stuff into my calendar. And she's like, you're never going to be a responsible adult if you don't learn to calendar your life. And, it was super nagging. I knew she was right though, because my life started to get pretty busy. And then when I got into college, obviously my mom wasn't there anymore, but I started to get those day planners, right? So this was now the 90s and we had day planners, and I would start to write what time my class was, what time my practice was, when things were due. And then on top of that, I started to make lists. So I would have a calendar and then I would have a list, and my list would be things that I wanted to accomplish, ideas that I had, stuff that was like left undone. And I, over time, I began to utilize my calendar more and more and my list more and more. And thus, that's really why I have, whiteboards. It's called the Whiteboard Entrepreneur, because I'm writing everything down. I have all of these lists that really don't mean anything to anyone other than myself. But I meet people all the time, and they ask, they're like, Devon, it feels like you do a lot. It feels like you're very active. It feels like, you're doing more with 24 hours in the day than I do. I don't understand how you accomplish that. And I would say, first off, that's probably a misconception. We always think other people are busier than we are. We sell ourselves short. But I would tell you this, that if you are not utilizing your calendar and you are not making lists, you probably are underutilizing yourself. I'm always in awe when I talk to someone. I'm like, hey, would you like to grab coffee next Thursday? And they just go, sure. I'm like, what do you mean, sure? How can you know if next Thursday at 1:00 you can have coffee? Like, how is that even possible? Don't you need to check your calendar? Especially in 2022 when we have it on our phones. And I would encourage you that if you're someone that literally does not keep a calendar, does not keep lists, you have leakage in your life. It just happens. You have wasted time. You have ideas and things that you need to do that you never wrote down on your list that have leaked out of your head. And you are not optimizing the 24 hours a day, the gift that God gave you of that time and this brain power, because there's no way that you can optimize the most that you can get out of a week if you aren't calendaring. So what I do is every Sunday, I spend time looking at my calendar for the upcoming week. I have hard-coded meetings that I have every single week. If I need to make adjustments, I adjust those. And I do this typically on like Sunday, right? During that time, I also add in the latest changes that have come up. And I look at those gaps that I have. Maybe I have 3 hours on a Thursday afternoon, and then I look at my to-do list, that list that I'm keeping, and I will then begin inserting those into those to-do lists. So all of a sudden that 3 hour afternoon doesn't turn into a golf game, unless that's on my list to do, right? If it's on my list to go have fun or go for a bike ride or do something with my friends, I'm going to put that into my calendar, right? But if you want to optimize the 24 hours a day that you have 7 days a week, 365 days a year, it doesn't just happen. Like anything, you have to have a plan. You can't just walk into the gym and think, hey, I'm going to get all swole by just picking up whatever dumbbell or weight is, or whatever machine is open. You have to have a plan to optimize whatever you're doing, and your calendar is that plan for your business life, for your professional life, and also for your personal life. Because remember, at the same time, you have business, but you have personal things and goals and fun things that you want to do as well. And if you don't take the time to calendar those, you're not going to do it. If you wait till Sunday night or Saturday afternoon to find out which one of your friends you want to go to have dinner with on Saturday night, they're all going to have plans, and you're going to be sitting around Saturday going, geez, I don't have any friends. When really you didn't have to make the time and plan and calendar because they have busy lives too, right? If you want to spend time with your kids, it just doesn't organically happen in 2022. If you're a high performer, you have to schedule time with your kids. Like there were times in my life when literally the only times I had with my kids were early in the morning, so I would take them to coffee and donuts before school. But I had to put that on my calendar because it didn't just happen, right? I didn't just wake up and go, I wonder if they want to have coffee and donuts, because they're certainly not going to be happy when you pound on their door and say, hey, wake up. Surprise, Daddy wants to take you for coffee and donuts. We would talk about it the night before. We would put this stuff in our calendar, and we would get the most out of the 24 hours. The second part, like I've mentioned before, is that list, right? Because if you're ambitious, you have all of these ideas, all of these to-do lists, things you've forgotten. And if you don't write these down, and they're going to leak out of your brain, especially as you get older. I'm going to tell you, if I don't write it down, I forget about it. And it could have been the best idea ever. It could be something I need to modify, a change I need to do at work, an idea for the next product. It doesn't matter. I write everything down. And then later on, I prioritize those lists. And then I take those lists and insert it into my calendar. Listen, there's a billion different ways you could do it. I'm not going to take the time to explain every possible way that you can organize your life. But listen, if you want to be a high functioning individual, get control of your calendar, make lists. I'm Devon. This is Whiteboard Entrepreneur, and I hope this helped. Take a quick moment and hit that subscribe button for more content.